My name is Diane Johnson.
And you are the sister to?
Kenneth Turtle Johnson.
For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf,
I was the founder. I created Conan Parker in my mother's garage.
I had a lot of, lifting weights, and I was on swole. They started calling me Big Miz.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is only the beginning.
Well, we grew up in Texas. Turtle was born in Louisiana, but then my mom moved to Texas, so we really grew up in Texas. And from Texas, we moved to Compton, September 1972.
How many siblings do you have?
I have one sister, and I have 4 brothers.
Did you guys have a 2-parent household?
Pretty much,
Okay.
yeah.
When you moved to Compton, what type of employment did your parents find?
My father, we owned a restaurant, the Johnson Soul Food, in Long Beach on Orange Avenue. So that's where, as far as my family income, yeah. Because when we moved out here to California, my mom is a great cook. She's from Louisiana. And so he opened a restaurant for her. Like I said, it was right there in we lived in Compton, but our restaurant was in Long Beach on Orange Avenue.
And what street did you guys live on when you moved out here?
Rose Street.
Was Turtle the oldest?
No, I have a sister that's older. She's the oldest. Then there's Turtle. Then there's my brother Whiskey. Then there's, I have a brother Larry. He lives in Louisiana. And then me. And then I have a little brother Rodney.
What schools did you guys go to when you landed out here in Compton?
Roosevelt Junior High. And I went to Melle.
Elementary. Okay. When do you remember, or do you remember when Turtle first got involved with the gang stuff?
Oh, well, I remember that clearly. My mom would be at the restaurant, and so when she'd get off and come home, she would ask me where was my brothers, and that meaning Turtle and Whiskey. And I would say around the corner on Willow and Spring. So she would say, get in the car and take me around there and show me where they at. And I have to get in the car, take her around there and get them. And she would make them get in the car, take them home, whoop them, and tell them they better not go back on that street. And the same night, Turtle jumped out the window and went back around there. So, and then one day a lady had told my mom, say, well, your son is the leader of the gang. My mother say, my son is not no leader of no gang. So when that happened, then my mom started realizing that he was, in a gang. And she tried her best, too, to get him. She whooped every time we got out of school. She would put me in the car and make me go around on Willow, and they be in the back house, and she'd make them get in the car, take them home, whoop them. Still didn't matter. And then she found out he was the leader of the gang. And she said, So she was pretty mad.
How I started, I had just moved to California. And I was going to Roosevelt Junior High School. And a lot of bloods used to come up to the school and run them everybody home. And I used to wonder, what's happening? What they running everybody home for? Well, it's skating rain, partner. So, I used to wonder what they running for. What's Crip? What's Faru? So I go home. My buddies used to, ask me what I'm doing coming from that way. You a Faru? I said, no, man. And I get stopped on the other side of the street. They ask me if I'm a Crip. And I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was in the, in the blind. I didn't know what was what. Till a couple of guys told me, Faru's over there, Crips over here, So I say, is that right? What's that? They said a gang, a street gang. So me and my little brother, we didn't know, we didn't know nothing. We knew. So after a while, we got to going along, getting used to it. So we started being in the street gang too. Crips. I started doing what Crip was.
Do you remember any of the names of some of his first friends?
Oh, yes. I remember Rodney, you got Jonathan, Kizzy, Rabbit. Man, we go back so far. It's just so many.
Did they hang out at your house, or Mom's
Yep.
wouldn't allow that? She let them come over?
Oh, yeah, they would come over there. And most of the time when she be gone, because like I said, at the time, we owned a restaurant. So she would be gone. But basically, when we moved out here, my dad had already bought the house and everything. So we had, our garage had a pool table and everything. So that's where all, the guys would be. But they would go from one house to another, but they did come over.
Did Whiskey, I know he ran with Turtle. Did he jump right into the mix with Turtle, or did that something happen later?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
I want to touch on the Louisiana and Texas roots.
Okay.
You said Mom's was from Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
You know what part?
Shreveport.
Shreveport?
Yes.
And what kind of cooking did she do? Was it Creole cooking or just soul food?
Soul food cooking. Okay. Yep.
And, and Pops was from Texas?
No, my dad was from Louisiana. I mean, from St. Louis. I'm sorry. He was from St. Louis. So they met in their younger years. See, my mom married my dad when she was like 20 years old. So in that, basically, he was already living in California. They wasn't together. And he flew out there and, talked to my mom, and they got back together. And that's how we came to California, because we were living in Texas. And he was living out here after, through the years. Yeah.
What part of Texas?
Houston. That's where I was born, in Houston, Texas. Yeah.
And he already had a house in Compton?
My dad, when my mom agreed to get back together with him, then that's when he went and bought a house on Rose in Compton, and had everything fixed up. When we got off the plane, everything was together. All the rooms was together, everything. And that's how we ended up being in Compton.
Do you know what drove him to California? Why did he come?
My dad?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Probably just a change.
So your mom and dad both ran that restaurant, or that was a gift to Mom?
No, my mom and dad ran the restaurant. Mom was the cook. But yeah, they both ran it.
And this restaurant was down at the Pike?
No, it was in Long Beach on Orange Avenue.
Which is close proximity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, matter of fact, we owned the restaurant and the wash house, because the wash house was connected to it. So we owned the wash house too.
Did they used to make you guys work there?
Oh,
and wash
we worked there
dishes and all
too.
that?
Yep, and I have some stories on that too. So Turtle, him and my dad always knocked heads, to the point where, Ken figured that he, didn't have to listen. So he would always want us, we have to clean the chitlins and, get to clean the tables and stuff like that. So this particular day, Ken, he always had that mind. He say, I'm gonna stop cleaning these damn chitlins. He say, watch. So what he did, he knew my father was getting ready to come. So what he did, he went and put on a glove, one of those latex gloves, and he got a knife, and he counted down. He said, Daddy should be walking in the door right now. And my dad hit the corner in the restaurant, the kitchen part, he say, my dad called him Kenny. Kenny, what you doing? You don't clean no chitlins like that. Get out of here. He got up and smiled and passed me and say, see, I told you, that's what I wanted to do. So he didn't do it. He didn't have to clean chitlins no more. So then my dad would always say, go to the wash house in the evening, before we close. And he would always say, Kenny, go get the money out the wash house. So he would give him the keys. We go to the wash house. It'd be me, him, and Whiskey. We go to the wash house, and he would have the key, and he would open one and say, this one for Daddy. Drop it in the bag. Open the next one, and this one for me. And put it in the. He would go down the line. This one for Daddy. And you better not say nothing. And this one for me. And then at the end, he would give me a whole lot of change, and I just kept quiet.
Daddy never caught on?
Nope, never caught on.
Let me ask you something. This sounds like a middle-class upbringing, and your father was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on what made Turtle gravitate towards the street life with that background?
Because after he flew to Texas and talked to my mom to, get back together, and he sent for all of us, and we came out here. And like I said, but they always clashed, always. So eventually, my mom and dad broke up while we was in out here. They broke up. So that's when they broke, because my dad was strict. Oh my God, he brought us all brand new bikes. When he first brought us to California, he took us to Sears. And he said, pick any bike you want. And we all picked a bike, but my sister was 16. So she said, I don't want no bike, I want a car. He said, well, you should be walking then. So she didn't get that car that she wanted then. But they just always clashed. They never got along because he was so strict. And when he bought our bikes, where we lived at on Rose, we stayed all the way in the back. And you go ride up to the end of the curve and come back. And he tell us that's all we could do. One day Turtle say, fuck this. He say, I'm finna go down the street. I'm going down Rose and see what's happening. And Whiskey was like, you gonna get in trouble. And so he was like, I don't care. So he took his bike and rode on down Rose Street. So when me and my brother came back, because my dad was standing in the window always like this. We had a big old picture window, and he would stand with his hands behind his back, waiting for us to make that round to come back. And so when he didn't see Turtle, oh my God. He came outside and went off and put your bike up or whatever. He didn't care. He said, I don't care. I rode all up and down the street. So they always clashed. They always just, I wouldn't say didn't get along, but they bumped heads.
But was there gang activity on Rose when you guys landed there in 72?
At that time, my dad was there. So they really wasn't noticing that, whatever, because we would be at the restaurant. After school, my mom come pick us up, we go straight to the restaurant. So it was after my dad and my mom broke up, and then Whiskey and Turtle started venturing out.
What, Dad left the house to you guys and moved somewhere else?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. When he left, did he leave Mom's with the wash house and the restaurant, or he?
No, what happened was, my mom, she said she didn't want to work there no more. After they broke up, my mom was like, nope, you do it yourself. Because my mom was the cook. We made the restaurant. Let me tell you what would happen. My dad, when my mom would leave sometime, because she would come and get us from school, and my dad would be running the restaurant till she come back. Well, they both ran it, but he would have to fix the plates, and then when people come. They didn't like that. People, when he was there, it got to the point where it would be 2 or 3 people in there because he didn't put enough on the plate. That's what they were saying. So when my mom and me and my sister, we was there, whatever, because my mom was like, I don't want to throw all this food away at nighttime. So my mom would give him a nice plate. So every time you come back, wow, this place is, why are you always filling up the place? My mother say, you stop being stingy with the food. So my mom would give good, healthy plates, but my dad, he was just like stingy with it.
So where did your dad go after the breakup? Did he go to another state, or
No, he's still in California. Yeah. So from there, my mom, like I said, they went their separate ways. My mom, she was like, I'm not going to cook there no more. I don't even want the rest. She told him she didn't even want it no more. You run it.
That's Mama Johnson.
Yep.
She was playing.
Yep. And she did. So he tried to run it, knowing he couldn't cook. None of that. So then he brought his sister in there to try to help him out or whatever. That didn't help. So one night, the little restaurant, it's like a small little restaurant, was on the left side of us. It caught on fire in our restaurant. ended up catching on fire too. So, well, we wasn't there anymore anyway. Him and my mom had went their separate ways. So that was the end of that.
Would you link this breakup to around the time that Turtle gravitated into the street life?
Yes, because that's when he had more freedom. Because, see, my mom would be at work all the time, every day.
That had to be around 73, Diane. And the reason why I say 73, this is when the first time I met Turtle.
Could have been around
in
that
73, time. Right? And I don't know if you remember this, and you probably were young, but what happened? Me, BJ, Sugar Bear, Big Mac, and I said CB. Okay. Mm-hmm. What happened is that we were trying to figure out, because we was on just right across the way. You guys was on Rose, right? And we just right across the way on Spring, which was the only thing that separated us was Rosecrans, because I lived in their first house right there. Mm. So we were trying to figure out who they were. Right. It was him, Whiskey, a couple other cats. Right. Maybe somebody they had befriended at that time. Mm-hmm. So what happened, we get into it. And this was one of the very first time that I saw, that I witnessed was a part of Turtle being a diplomat. And the reason why I call him a diplomat is because we actually exchanged gunfire, right? Ooh. Me, Turtle, Sugar Bear.
Amongst each other?
Yes, because we didn't know them. We didn't know who they were.
Oh, so you was on Rose first?
No, I was on Spring Street.
On Spring.
Right? So Whiskey ran up on my homie Sugar Bear, dumping, boop, 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 boop. Sugar Bear was just standing there, just, throwing up all these Crip signs, and then the homie BJ come out and start blasting back. So they take off. So we go around on Alameda, come over the back fence behind where the medical place was, and we raised up over the fence. Right. And Turtle looked and seen us hit, because their house was right there in
behind the Army base.
Back of the Army base. Mm-hmm. So when he realized what we did, maybe about an hour or two, he comes back and he said, "Hey man, let me talk to y'all, man. Hey, what's going on, man?" So that was our very first meeting, and we embraced, we shook it off, and we realized that we were part of the same thing. You know what I mean? Because at that time you got to realize the U.S. was still circulating, so we didn't know if they was part of that or something else.
Also, Midtown wasn't up and running yet?
Midtown was up and running, but they were on Willow. These guys was on Rose.
That's just a block away, ain't it?
2 blocks.
Let's keep her going.
Okay.
And as you say, you asked me about when he got into it, the gang part, and my mom found out was one day, his name was Drew Fly, and I guess Turtle was selling weed for him. And what happened was, he came over there and he asked my mom. First, my mom found it and flushed it down the toilet. So when the guy came over, my mom wasn't there, which is me, Turtle, and he said, and my little brother, and he asked him for his weed, and he said, "Man, I don't have it." He said, my mama flushed it down the toilet. "Man, what you talking about?" And he said, "Man, come on, man, I know you lying, man. You know you got it." He's like I told you, goddamn it. My mama flushed it down the toilet. Because that's the way my brother talked, fast or whatever. But, so then he said, "Oh, okay." But I never forget the guy. Like I say, our house was right behind the Army base. And that was like a side door. And the guy took 2 steps and did like this. And I'm wondering what he looking at. A couple of nights later, I was washing dishes. I had just finished washing dishes, cleaning the kitchen. Turtle and Whiskey was in the room. My little brother was watching TV in the living room. I cut the light off before I could walk and, sit down and watch TV. They threw a Mardi cocktail in our house.
Wow.
And if I think he was waiting for that light to go off, because the window was right in front of my face where I washed the dishes at. So the Mardi cocktail, he came through the house, all I seen was just fire go across the ceiling. So I said, "Candy, wet?" And I said, "Somebody just threw something in the house." And that's when they ran out and got the water hose and stuff and put it out. So then Ken Turtle called the guy. He said, "Oh, I know you just threw that Monte Carlo in my mama's house. He say, but you know what? You got a mama too, and a sister, and a brother. I'll be there. And he, no, man, I didn't do it. He say, you know what? You heard what I said, and hung up the phone.
Was that the first time or the second time for the Monte Carlo?
That was the first time.
Okay.
That was the first time.
Okay. What I want to ask is, how did it translate living on Rose, living on Pearl, and then living on Eugenia Village? Can you give us how that was? How did that translate for you and your family?
Well, my brother lived in Eugenia Village. And so at a time, you know, you got to go where your mom go. So Marco was like, oh, okay, yeah, you can get an apartment over here, whatever. But Turtle told her, don't move over there.
How old were you?
I was in 11th grade.
So you were in high school?
I was in high school.
Okay, go back to your school.
Yeah. And so he told me, he said, don't move over, told her, you know. So she figured she don't stay with me really anyway, so I'm going to move there. So she got an apartment in there. And that was the second Monte Carlo.
Turtle was already cripping at this time?
Oh yeah. It was Alpine Village, partying, all that, because that was the night that he came. One night he walked up, and I was standing on the balcony, and he said, and my mom had just walked down the stairs, because we stayed in the upstairs. And he said, what you doing outside, Moms? He said, somebody said talking about they supposed to be shooting over here, shooting in here, something. I wish the hell they would. So that was my mom talking, and he's like, Mom's go in the house, don't worry about that, just go in the house. He came in, changed his clothes, said he was going to Alpine Village, and they left. Later on, it was some popping, some everything going on over there. So he was like, you don't threaten my mama, you don't threaten my house. So, but it's times where he came over there on the bike, rode over there on the bike. He sure did.
Okay, one question though. How was it for you at Centennial High, being Centennial High was predominantly blood? Were they aware that you was Turtle's sister?
No, because I always been the type of person, I never did say who my brother was. If you know me as far as we grew up, I did. But when I'm around people, because I know how big he was. So I always was the type want to hear things. You know, if they like or dislike, then you know,
so
I can
did
go.
You hear anything?
Yeah. So I went to Centennial, totally undercover. Nobody never knew, but then one day I had this pen, and it was like a big old pen. My mom went to Vegas and brought me back this pen. And it was this guy, he liked me, but he went in the wrong way about it. So he came and snatched my pen from me and ran. So, you know, I just went on to class. Somebody told him, and I did not know this dude. He knew though that I was Turtle's sister, and he told me, say, I knew when you came to this school. He said, but I didn't say nothing. And so the guy came and interrupted my class, and the teacher kept saying, wait, excuse me, what you doing? He's like, oh, I want to give her pen. So when he came to me, he said, oh, I'm so sorry. Please don't tell your brother. I like you, but I just didn't know how to go about it. Please don't tell your brother. And I was like, I ain't gonna tell my brother. So then I'm sitting in Golden Bird Chicken, right across from Centennial. And as I'm sitting there, this guy says, yeah, you know, them damn Santanas and all that shit over there off of Santa Fe, Rose Street, they just talking, right? You know, and I'm just sitting up there eating my chicken, just listening. And then they say, yeah, Turtle from the Santana. And I stopped eating then, you know, to listen. So then he says, yeah, matter of fact, you look just like that motherfucker too. I said, what? Who is Turtle? I said, is that what his mama named him? You know, I'm playing it all off. I said, nah, that ain't his name. That's just his little gang affiliated name. But you know what? You look just like him. I say, well, whatever. I say, I don't know why his mama named him Turtle, whoever he is, and I don't look like him. You know, and that was my thing. That's how I just kept my down low, always. I never, because I was the type that, you know, my brother was the type, Turtle was the type that he would talk to you first. He was never about like, you know, now we got our night and we got our day. Whiskey is the night, Turtle is the day. Now, but them both my brothers, and I love them to death. But Ken, I call him Ken there because that's just I always have, and then I have to say Turtle so you know who I'm talking about either way. But he would know how to talk to you, and just so smooth, and just tell you, you know, yeah, well, you need to do this or blah blah this. But the night whiskey, ain't no talking. I'm explaining that, ain't no talking. It's like, you know, rah, 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 rah. He can just go off on you and all that stuff. That's the difference between them. Both good guys, but
Whiskey gonna let it go.
Yeah, he gonna let it go. Turtle is the one that he'll talk to you now. After he didn't talk to you, then you don't get it right, he ain't coming back to talk to you no more the second time. But he will. He always been that kind of guy that just could talk to you and just kill the situation and all that. But he ain't gonna let you mess over him either. Now that he ain't gonna do. But you know, I just remember times, it's like, you know, we growing up how he was, and to the point he was shy back in the day.
The origins of Turtle and Whiskey's name. Is there a story behind those names? How they got them?
Well, Whiskey, I'm sure he probably got his from, because he was a drinker back in the day. Turtle didn't drink, smoke, get high. He didn't do none of that.
You know, but somebody had to do the thinking, you know. And I'm the only one around, don't get high, don't smoke dope or nothing. So I figure I can do the thinking.
But from what I hear, his name came from Roosevelt. They wanted him to run track, and he didn't want to run track. So they started calling him Turtle.
That's a good one.
Yeah, because he could run fast, but
Oh,
yeah.
he was fast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They
must have been teasing.
Yeah.
So when you guys were bouncing from Rose to Pearl to Eugenia Village, where was Pops living at?
In Long Beach, out here in California, Long Beach. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, let's pop back to Pearl Street. Pearl Street. Cross Street, Palmer, right?
Mhm.
Just right across the way is the Pyro neighborhood, or what is known as M, but formerly Lourdes Park, right?
Mhm.
So were there ever any incidents that happened to your memory that you can call on right now?
Yeah. Well, on Pearl Street, you know, it was a house, the second house from the corner. It was the corner house, then the alley, then our house. So, and it was always, the alley would be dark all the time. But Turtle always told us, don't have no light on, don't keep no light on, turn it off, because he came back there through the dark. And one other time he wasn't there, and he was in jail at this time. He never went to jail and did no time at all, you know. But this one particular time he was in jail, and he had a white 6'4", and it was parked on the grass right in front of the house. And somebody came and set it on fire. And I poured gasoline on it and set it on fire, and I woke up and I seen the flames, and my sister's boyfriend went out there and put it out. And then there was another incident where my mom, sometimes she would come down the alley part and then just turn into the back, or you can come in through from the front of the house too. So this particular day, she wanted to park in the back. And so it was a guy in the alleyway, and he was just parked there. So my mom asked him to move his car, and he was like, I ain't moving nothing. So my mom was like, what? He say, like I said, I ain't moving nothing. So when my mom went in the house, she cussing and she fussing about, then so Turtle say, Moms, what's wrong? This guy in the alley won't move his car, you know. And so he was like, what? Oh, wait a minute. Turtle went got his little sawed off, came out there, took one leap over the wall, and just started beating him on his car. Beating him. My mom had to come out there and holler and scream and tell him to stop, you know. But other than that, that guy was, he drove off all bloodied up and everything. And he just came on back in the house.